Let's bring in our political panel. Skyping in from New York City. New York City, yes. New York City columnist for the Fiscal Times, Liz Peek. And right here on the anchor desk, managing editor of the Shark Tank political blog, a must-reading for those more than casually interested in politics in the state of Florida, Javier Manjarres. Now, folks, President Obama just completed an address to the UN General Assembly, and it seemed like his comments were not so much intended for those folks showing up at the UN for the General Assembly, but to American voters because they seem to be implying something about Donald Trump. Let's look and listen.
Together with a global economy that depends on a global supply chains, makes it self-defeating ultimately for those who seek to reverse this progress. Today, a nation ringed by walls would only imprison itself. So the answer cannot be a simple rejection of global integration.
It can't. Well, gee, last time I checked, borders are key to sovereignty. Liz Peek, your take on the president today and the Democrats' plan, which ain't really so much open trade as much as it is bringing in new voters via amnesty.
Well, look, I think, first of all, there are different issues here. The first has to do with trade. And I think what we've seen is that Donald Trump has really hit a nerve by talking about the unfairness of past trade agreements. I don't think anyone can really interpret his comments as saying he's anti-trade. That's kind of a stupid premise. I think the issue is that NAFTA in the past and the TPP, which the president is very keen to get passed, don't favor American workers. And I think Trump has really hit on struck a nerve here, obviously, with a great many American workers who feel like they have been disadvantaged by allowing Mexico and other countries to compete sort of dollar for dollar and to give them the advantage in terms of trade deals. As far as borders are concerned and kind of, protecting our borders, the American people believe that we should have secure borders, and we do not. That's sort of the end and beginning of the argument. No one is really talking about banning all immigration. We're talking about banning illegal immigration, and they're two very different things because we've seen that we are not, particularly in 2014, we are not capable of keeping people who want to get into our country out of our country.
And yet there is a policy intersection, Liz, and I'll take it up with Javier right now with political implications. The Trans-Pacific Partnership actually has language that slides into the whole amnesty deal. So they were working that. Our Dick Morris identified that about a year ago. So you see a general distrust of the whole globalization movement. Mr. Obama today, his last hurrah or more of a speech designed for domestic political consumption?
I would never say last hurrah with President Obama. I think he's got many tricks up his sleeve. I think this is the first of many speeches he'll make in regards to immigration, because that's one of those divisive wedge issues that Democrats are going to pull or are going to play this election cycle. That's one of those issues that Donald Trump is on the forefront, has done well in that regard, but it's divisive when it comes to the Hispanic vote. And they'll use that to hurt him with the Hispanic vote but then again, here in Florida, Hillary is well ahead of him in the Hispanic vote, but she may very well lose the state. So it may play in favor for the Democrats and may not.
Well, that's why we hold elections and why we continue to analyze what will happen and why we chronicle that. Tell you what, folks, let's go back to the phones at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629 to Toms River, New Jersey, where Tony is standing by. Tony, welcome to America Talks Live.
Hi, thank you very much.
You bet.
My daughter just called me from North Carolina. She was at the Trump rally. I noticed as I'm watching the show today, you've shown a little bit of Trump in North Carolina. I don't know if most people looked at it, that there was 11,000 people there. 90% of them were under the age of 25, and they were going berserk on how he was speaking out there.
Now, help me out. I'm trying to remember. Was he in High Point? That happens to be my hometown, at High Point University.
Oh, wow.
Or where was the venue today? Was that where he was?
North Carolina State.
I'm an NC State alum, but I grew up in High Point. So you see,
good man.
That's right. Proud of the Wolfpack and those Purple Panthers at High Point University. But your point is well taken, Tony. that young people, at least today, appeared to be very enthusiastic about what Trump had to say. And Liz, to you, we saw something, I guess it was Breitbart.com. There was Hillary yesterday at Temple University talking about free tuition. Fewer than 200 students show up. Trump today in North Carolina at a college venue. Yesterday in Florida, thousands of people show up. Now, I don't know how the anecdotal and the empirical can be so far afield, but Donald Trump really draws interest and attention to those rallies.
Well, I think it's no question that Hillary Clinton is having a very hard time exciting millennials and young people in general. That's obviously not all young people, but they have been a problem for her since they swarmed behind Bernie Sanders. And what we're seeing now actually is basically Donald Trump's picking up a lot of the slack in terms of undecided young voters, and also Gary Johnson. I mean, he is the Libertarian Party has always appealed to young people, and that's happening as well. But Hillary just seems like a blast from the past, and even though Donald Trump is a couple of years older, I think young people just have a sense that he's new, he's different. Look, 55% of the country wants to see big changes. That is just an incredible death knell for Hillary Clinton because she is the opposite of big changes. And I think driving that appetite for change is the young people. So I'm not totally surprised at that outcome.
Well, let's talk about it, Javier, because Hillary's trying to reintroduce herself, rebrand herself, but she's been around for a quarter century.
I think Senator Rubio said it best. Hillary is the candidate from yesterday. and millennials see that, and Gen X voters see that, because she is. It's the same tired policies as the past 8 years through when her husband was president. She still supports Obamacare. Back then it was Hillary Care, before it was Obamacare. I think people have woken up to that, and I think Donald Trump, again, he may be the same age of her, but he brings something new to the game. He's very crass. He's in your face. People can relate to that. People can understand how Hillary Clinton is, and Donald Trump broke the mold. So people can relate to that, and they may not agree with him on issues, but they like his delivery, and that makes sense.
Let me just a quick thing before we all part company. Javier, to you, since you worked as a political consultant, the discrepancy between polling, which ostensibly is empirical, and these huge rallies that Trump has that's anecdotal. Is there a division there, or does it just display the intensity that people have for Donald Trump?
Well, I think the importance needs to be looked at is the fact that these people that are being polled are most likely voters. What about the people who are not most likely, who are considered ones or twos that don't normally vote? They are going to come out to support Trump. I spoke to many very liberal Democrats, including the person that cuts my hair, and she can't stand Hillary Clinton. She was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Now she's voting for Trump. How can you explain that?
Wow, well, it'd be worth watching, and something that Liz Peek will be watching there from New York City in her columns for the Fiscal Times, and Javier Manjarres, as he continues to write the Shark Tank political blog, will have that as well. Our thanks to you both for all this good information and insight. And of course, what we want to show you is Mr. Trump on the stump. Tony spoke so glowingly of his North Carolina time. We'll take a look at Trump campaigning and have more as America Talks Live Hour 2 continues. Stay with us.